global climate change.
Pearl, Pearl, the science girl. 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 Pearl, Pearl, the science girl.
The Earth is warming. Every day, people are burning fossil fuels, adding additional heat-trapping gases to the atmosphere. These gases are called greenhouse gases. The warmer temperatures caused by the greenhouse gases are causing other changes around the world, such as melting glaciers and stronger storms. These changes are happening because the Earth's air, water, and land are all linked to climate. It's natural for Earth's climate to change, and it has changed before, but this time is different. This time, people are causing these changes, and they're bigger and faster than any climate change that modern society has ever seen. Whether the weather is cold, whether the weather is hot, we'll be together whatever the weather, whether we like it or not. Gotta get those articulators going. Now, let's get something straight. Weather versus climate. Weather is the condition of the atmosphere over a short period of time. Climate refers to the typical weather conditions in a place over a long period of time. For example, the weather in Seattle today is sunny, but the climate there is usually cold and rainy. Now, say it with me. Whether the weather is cold, whether the weather is hot, we'll be together whatever the weather, whether we like it or not. Over 100 years ago, humans began burning fossil fuels like coal and oil and natural gas. Today, the majority of the world depends on these fossil fuels to power their homes and buildings and cars. The burning fossil fuels release carbon dioxide, a heat-trapping gas, into the atmosphere. This is one of the main reasons the climate is changing. These heat-trapping gases are called greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases exist naturally in the atmosphere. They help keep the Earth warm enough for the plants and the animals to survive. The problem is that people are adding extra greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. These extra gases are causing the Earth to get warmer, causing negative effects all around the world. The world.
Pearl, global climate change is so big, I can't really imagine it. Can you help explain it to me?
Of course. Let's do an experiment.
Is it time yet?
It's time. Kids, try this at home. Here's what you'll need. 1 glass jar, 2 cups cold water, 5 ice cubes, 1 clear plastic bag, and a thermometer. First, take your glass jar and pour in 2 cups of cold water. Next, add 5 ice cubes to the jar. Take the temperature of the water in the jar and record it. Then, wrap the jar in a plastic bag. Leave the jar in the sun for 1 hour. Measure the temperature of the water in the jar to see if it changed.
Now I get it, Pearl. So the jar is like our Earth. And with the heat of the sun, the air in the jars becomes warm, like the air in our atmosphere. As it gets warmer, the sun's heat energy builds up inside the jar and on the glass, or on a larger scale, in the atmosphere. The atmosphere absorbs some of it, which makes the atmosphere, or the glass, warmer. As the atmosphere gets warmer, it makes the Earth's surface warmer too. And this warming is causing problems like melting glaciers and rising sea levels.
You got it! We just showed a small greenhouse effect. The temperature of the water in the jar changed, which doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but think about what could happen if the overall temperature of the Earth changed. Carbon dioxide, or CO2, is the greenhouse gas that gets the most attention. But we can't blame CO2 for all our climate change problems. The greenhouse gases work as a team, and if their team gets too big or too strong, we've got a problem. In the greenhouse gas gang, try saying that 3 times fast. Greenhouse gas gang, greenhouse gas gang, greenhouse gas gang. Anyway, in the greenhouse gas gang, we have the leader, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide comes from burning things like fossil fuels. Then there's the sidekick, methane. Methane comes from landfills or raising livestock like cows and sheep. And anyway, next we've got their buddy, nitrous oxide, and their groupies like chlorofluorocarbons and water vapor. When this gas gang is at an appropriate level to keep the Earth warm enough, they're harmless. But when we start emitting more of these gases than naturally occur in the environment, we throw off the balance of the atmosphere.
The greenhouse effect. This is the Earth, and these are the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The rays from the sun hit the Earth. The rays reflect back towards space. But the greenhouse gases pick up the heat from the sun rays. Some of the heat continues to space. The captured heat now spreads in every direction. The extra heat keeps the Earth's temperatures in balance. So, what are humans doing? Unfortunately, we are letting out greenhouse gases from things like cars and factories. But what happens then? A lot more heat is captured by the greenhouse gases, and thus the climate begins to change.
Let's get more specific. Where are these greenhouse gases coming from? Well, take a look at this chart. In 2012, 10% of all U.S. greenhouse gas emissions were coming from commercial and residential emissions. Another 10% was coming from agriculture, and 20% from industry, 28% from transportation, and a whopping 32% from electricity. Now, greenhouse gas emissions are really a global issue. Because this problem is in our atmosphere, it is not limited to the borders of a country or state. We all share the air, share the air, share the air. So, if a bunch of CO2 or methane is being put into the atmosphere by a factory in China, a gust of wind could easily move that to the US or anywhere else on Earth. That means that we need to recognize that even though some countries emit more greenhouse gas than others, emissions from anywhere in the world add to the problem. We are responsible for taking care of our Earth. So, what can we do? Here are a few fun ways that you can help lower your greenhouse gas emissions and help slow down global climate change.
Use renewable energy sources like wind and solar power. That way we can avoid the carbon dioxide emissions that come from burning fossil fuels like coal or oil.
Saving water saves energy, which will help to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases you emit. So don't leave the water running while you brush your teeth or take a shower.
Buy locally grown food, or better yet, grow your own food. The more your food has to travel to get to you, the more greenhouse gas emissions are produced from.
Instead of cars or trucks that emit a lot of greenhouse gases, use clean transportation like biking or skateboarding or walking.
Plant a tree. Trees help to slow climate change because they absorb CO2 during photosynthesis.
Every step of creating product leads to greenhouse gas emissions. Reducing, reusing, and recycling means that you buy and throw away fewer things, and that helps lower the amount of greenhouse gases we're putting into the atmosphere.
Climate change is everywhere. Greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. Climate change is everywhere. Greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. When you emit CO2 from burning your fuels you create, the greenhouse gases that damage the place that we live. Aye! Climate change is everywhere, greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. Climate change is everywhere, greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. The rays from the sun hit the ground and heats up the earth all around, but greenhouse gases keep them trapped, and too much makes it hard to adapt. Climate change is everywhere, greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. Climate change is everywhere, greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. Climate change is everywhere, greenhouse gas in the
Well, that's our show. Thanks for joining us.